very much. If I could ask everybody to stand for the pledge.
I know.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll start with the roll call.
Roll call. I'll start with the board. Colleen's here. Stan Eichelbaum, he is absent. Debbie Rosenbaum, here. Christina Curry, here. Mary Pelican, here. Bruce Cummings, absent. Marilyn, here. Jim Concannon, here. Michael,
Here I am.
Kathy, here. Kelly, here. Dennis,
Here.
okay. Roll call for association. Ball Harbor, Bermuda Riviera, Beverly Heights,
Here.
Birch Park, Central Beach Alliance, here. Central City Alliance, Coley Hammock,
Here.
Coral Ridge, here. Coral Ridge Association, no, that was you.
Yeah,
No, that was Coral Ridge Country Club Estates.
Okay, they're not here.
Okay, Coral Ridge Isles, Poisson Park, Downtown, Edgewood, Flagler, Gold Ocean,
Here.
Harbordale,
Here.
Harbor Beach Property, Harbor Inlet, Historic Dorsey,
Here.
Home Beautiful, Idlewild, Imperial Point,
Here.
Lake Ridge,
Here.
Landings,
Here.
Lauderdale Beach,
Here.
Lauderdale Harbor,
Here.
Lauderdale Isles, Lauderdale Manors,
Here.
Melrose Manors,
Here.
Middle River,
She's here. Here, sorry.
Nurmi, Poinciana,
Right?
Poinciana Heights,
Yeah, here.
Poinciana Park, Progresso Village, Rio Vista,
Present.
River Garden, Riverland Preservation,
Here.
River Oak Civic,
Here.
Riverside Park, Rock Island,
Here.
Sailboat Bend,
Here.
Seven Isles, Shady Banks, Sunrise Intercoastal's here, South Middle River,
Here.
Tarpon River, Victoria Park.
Here.
Roll call.
I like that.
Huh? We have a quorum. Yeah, we have a quorum.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, Deborah. That was wonderful. All right, so just two announcements. We announced this last month, but it's worth reiterating. Beginning last month and going forward, all CFLCA meetings are recorded. And we have two parliamentarians to the degree that they are needed. District 2 Rep Michael Albetta acts as parliamentarian, and his alternate is District 4 Rep Kelly. So thank you very much. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes of the August 13th, 2019 general meeting and the special MPO TAM meeting that was held on August 22nd?
I so move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Brucey, perfect timing. Thank you. We're going to hear from Brucey, but we'll give her a few minutes and we'll skip to the the police report. Lieutenant Cortez,
Yes.
if I could have you come up and tell us a little bit.
How are you? Forgive me, I'm filling in for another lieutenant who actually just got promoted, so it was kind of like a dropped on me very shortly ago. So I'm really here to answer any questions that you may have. If there's anything specific to your HOAs, obviously we have our NAT team officers that will respond out and usually handle those matters. But if you have any questions or inquiries that I can give you, I know right now currently I'm handling a couple things that are going on the road. For anybody who lives out by the beach, do not take Las Olas. We have a gas leak that's going on out there that we've had the one Las Olas circle closed off for a while, so if you can drive around it, that's probably the best course of action. A couple other things. So just in general talk, I will say that obviously school has started again. I've already fielded a matter. If you have any complaints or something that you need to have referred to and I can assist you with, please get with me on the side. I'll be happy to do that. I know I've addressed, there's going to be one with the school that's on Riverland that I will get with that command with regards to traffic. But if there's anything else that I can assist you with, please feel free. I'm here. And I'm more than happy to answer questions. So, anyone? Go ahead, sir.
Have you noticed an uptick in car thefts lately? Or, let me add to that, any increase in burglaries during the Dorian time frame?
No, actually, I did not. And in fact, I know that I was on standby for that as the EOC was activated, and we didn't even go to our traditional Alpha Bravo shift based on that. With regards to the auto thefts that I can tell you that I see from my district, which is the Police District 1, a lot of these events, unfortunately, still are individuals who are leaving their cars open, leaving their purses in there, and leaving either their car keys inside there or the remote to the house garage. And I know you don't think about it, but if you have a clicker, as soon as I get into your car and I click it, now I have access to your house despite your Ring cameras and every other system that you may have. So traditionally, this is what we're seeing, a lot of those. The only other ones that really pop up on our map are ones that are suspicious in nature or overdue rentals, which, you know, ultimately many of those cases turn out to be civil matters where someone didn't return it, it's been 2 days, and now I'm sorry, they work it out, and, you know, that's no longer an auto theft.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? This is easy. If there's only
And we
one
can
question.
talk general stats maybe next month. Kind
Yeah,
of overview
absolutely.
of what's
for sure.
occurring where and to what degree.
Yeah, absolutely. I can only tell you that I know just from the general stats, they appear to be lower significantly from the previous years. So
That's great news.
Yes.
That's great news.
Excellent.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Oh,
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Very
That's
simple.
great.
The position coming in here usually brings a promotion.
Good. I appreciate that. I'll be here next month.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
so much.
Appreciate it. And just for the roll call, we had 2 new attendees. I believe you want to just announce your neighborhood for the benefit?
Sure, it's Melinda Balker, Downtown Civic Association.
So downtown's here, and our treasurer, Brucey Cummings, has joined us in Tarpon River. So Brucey, if I could turn it over to you for the treasurer's report.
Absolutely. We haven't received any more membership dues. We're still in close to the same place we were in last month. We have $6,515.14. Plus we have the $5,000 that is in our money market funds. So nothing has happened this month to change it. Any
All right.
questions about that?
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So we're rolling along because we have a packed agenda. We're going to start with our presenters now. So I'm going to introduce our first speaker. I am honored that he agreed to show up here tonight. We have with us Jim Hammond. Just a little bit about Jim. He started his career on Broadway, working with the national tour of The Lion King. He was the lead puppeteer, and trust me, that was a significant role. He is the spokes puppet for Allegiant Airlines, among other media formats. His commercials and other things have been featured on PBS. If you've seen that anti-smoking commercial with puppets, that was him.
Wow.
But he's an arts educator, puppeteer, and theatrical designer and producer for over 30 years. And 10 years ago, he started the event that he's going to talk about, the Day of the Dead in South Florida, in his hometown of Fort Lauderdale. And yes, he is often confused for Richard Branson, but he is better. Please help me welcome Jim.
I also get a little bit of Sammy Hagar too, so you may see that too, all right? I've actually got more than a few drinks when I wander past the bars. Sammy! So, Florida Day of the Dead. How many people have been to the Florida Day of the Dead celebration? So, probably about 15%, 15 to 20%, good. Hopefully we're gonna have 100% when I do a presentation next year. We're gonna show you a little 1-minute reel. The audio go up a little? So giant puppets galore, thousands of people downtown. And this is all based on the ancient Mesoamerican traditions of Day of the Dead. Aztec and Mayan dancers, kid mariachis from Homestead, folklorico dancers, more folklorico dancers, selfies galore, and that's a crowd from the stage with Univision's official mariachi. So, and then if we can go into the PowerPoint, that would be great. So let me tell you just briefly about myself. I have lived in Edgewood now for 20 years with my lovely bride. I'm thrilled to have been able to volunteer with the city, building puppets for the Sistrunk Festival and Parade, for Pride Festival and Parade, for, if you've seen the St. Patrick's Day puppet, that's my company, where St. Patrick is scaring all the snakes into the river. That's my stuff. But our big claim to fame, although we love all these community festivals, and if you have a community festival, left my card, and I'll come in and I'll volunteer and help you guys build puppets for whatever festival you guys have. But the big claim to fame is the Florida Day of the Dead. And if you can hit the next one, please. Oh, it's just a clicker? Oh, there we go. So we're now in our 10th year. This is our 10th anniversary. The actual date that should be on everyone's calendar is Saturday, September 2nd, November 2nd, thank you. Saturday, November 2nd, you can tell I've been watching my calendar. November 2nd from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. Throughout downtown. We're going to take a quick look at the map in a little bit. But this started as a project with a bunch of artists in Fat Village in the Arts District, where we were looking for a community festival to merge our creative forces into, and it just didn't exist. There was nothing like this in South Florida, whether it be all the way down to Key West, all the way up to Stewart. We could not find something. So artists being artists, we said, hey, let's create our own little festival. So we created the Fort Lauderdale Day of the Dead celebration that eventually expanded so big it is now branded as the Florida Day of the Dead. We always do it on the traditional day, which is either November 1st or 2nd. Christmas is on what day?
25th.
4th of July is on what day? 24th. Yeah, so we still have the fireworks, we still have the celebration on those days, no matter what day it is. And one of the key components we do with this is to focus in on the tradition of that day. Here are some of the cards that are going to be coming out. These are the last bit of our first cards. This is about to go over our social media in about a week and a half for our final push the last 6 weeks going into the procession. We are fully bilingual. I am not, sadly, despite the fact that I've been trying my darndest. So if there are any Spanish language teachers in there, please give me your card. So this gives you a little overview of some of the partners. Of course, the City of Fort Lauderdale is a partner, Broward County is a partner, History Fort Lauderdale, Riverwalk has been a key partner with us throughout this, and Damn Good Hospitality Group. Damn Good Hospitality, they run Revolution Live and a lot of the great clubs that the youth of Fort Lauderdale absolutely love, and I love going to some of their events too. We are also, one of the bigger groups that we have partnering with us is the Consul General of Mexico. So this is an officially sanctioned Government of Mexico festival in partnership with the city. We're the only large-scale festival in all of Florida that is officially a Mexican government sanctioned event of this size. Some of the press, you saw a little bit of that in the original reel. We are about to launch our 7th cover on Go Riverwalk. We have an amazing artist, Omar, who has crafted some beautiful artwork for it each year. We've been named one of the top 6 Day of the Dead events in the U.S., in the LA Times, Thrillist, a Far magazine, top 10 events. Oops, there's a typo. That should be top 10 events in North America by the USA Today. That includes all of Mexico, Fort Lauderdale. So top 10 Day of the Dead events in North America. Next, here's the footprint. So usually, we're a little bit smaller, but we talked about all the partners. We start with a stage in Huizinga Plaza, that's our stage 1, where we collect with traditional indigenous dance troupes. There will be over 40 indigenous dancers from throughout Latin America performing here. You're going to see the processional route, which I'll talk about in a minute. In History Fort Lauderdale, we have the Ofrendas exhibit, and for anyone who has experienced an ofrenda, it's a memorial for somebody who has died. So think about the person who has passed, who's really important to you. You create a little altar, a little memorial devoted to them, and you present it. History of Fort Lauderdale has been working with us for over 7 years to actually create an exhibition of these altars. If you want to create an altar, I'm going to take you to the website at the end if there's somebody who's important to you that you want to remember. For those who saw Coco, how many people saw Coco, the Pixar animated? Okay, not too many folks in here who have little kids. So 2-3 years ago, Pixar came out with this film that dealt with Day of the Dead traditions. And the key thing to remember is the philosophy that you die 3 different times in your life. The first time you die is when you lose the innocence of childhood. The second time you die is when your body dies. But there's a third time you die. And it's when people stop talking about you. When people stop remembering you. What the Ofrenda traditions are about is it gives you an opportunity to remember those people who are important to you. I'm going to cry right now. I'm sorry. So anyway, really cool stuff there. No, I literally am bawling this entire festival. So there's nothing wrong. I'm just really having a good time. Now, thanks to Riverwalk, we're now incorporating Esplanade Plaza, and we're going to bring in international Day of the Dead celebrations that are not literally Day of the Dead, but like Celtic expressions, European expressions, all in that area, where we're going to have ancient European music on this stage and some fantastic vendors as well. Then you continue to our main area, which is right around, this is number 6, Revolution Live. We've got all of their stages activated, and right on Broward Boulevard, not in Broward Boulevard, don't worry, we are not stuck in the traffic. Right on that intersection, we're going to have, in partnership with the Florida Mexican Festival, the largest number of folklorico dancers ever presented in Florida this year. Over 150 fully decked out folklorico dancers will be performing on that stage. We have multiple mariachi groups, and it goes on and on and on. Then when we come back, we actually started in the very first year, 9.5, almost 10 years ago. Hey, Dean. Mayor. I'm always a little ghost.
I have a telephone town hall meeting, so I can be sure that none of you are going to call and hassle me now. At least till 8 o'clock. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Mayor.
And then we actually started the very first procession at the Museum of Art, walked up Andrews Avenue, landed in Fat Village for the first couple of years, until we started closing down Broward, and I know we can't do that anymore. So we're actually bringing in folks from Mexico to talk about the tradition and the importance. And we have this one gentleman named Choco, who is a scholar of indigenous people of southern Mexico, and he's flying in. We just bought him his ticket. He's flying in, and he has his visa, and he's going to talk about his 30-year quest to bring Montezuma's crown from Austria back to the indigenous people of Central America.
Wow. Yes.
And he's in the midst, it's almost there, it's almost there, but he's going to talk all about that process, and he's also looking for that support as well, as they're so close to actually closing that deal. All right, now, the last thing I'm going to show you is this pink line right here. This pink line is Quetzalcoatl Trail. Now, Quetzalcoatl was the feathered serpent of the ancient Aztecs, and we have branded our processional the Quetzalcoatl Trail. Next, how can you all participate? How can your folks participate? We talked very briefly about the ofrendas. Think about somebody who's important to you. that you would want to remember, and you can create a little shoebox ofrenda with their photo, a couple of LED candles, some fake flowers, a few little trinkets that makes you think about them. And then that opening happens on the 6th of October at History Fort Lauderdale. Next workshops, I'm going to talk briefly about the workshops in a minute. Processional. Let me talk briefly about the workshops right now. We have over 30 free workshops for adults and families, ranging from folklorico dance to traditional art to even face makeup. And the one that we started with was building giant puppets, so working with students to build giant puppets. And this was the first year we actually worked with the Broward County school system to train the art teachers in how to do what we're doing. Processional, 6 p.m. On that day, come on downtown. We're going to need you to participate, carry puppets, put some face paint on, and jump into the parade. Volunteer, which is on our website, and I'll talk about that when we get to the website. Sponsors, can't do it without sponsors. And then sign up on Facebook. So here's the hands-on part. So everyone, go to your mobile. For those who do not already have their mobile out, open up your mobile and go to Google search or whatever your search engine is. Day of the Dead, Florida. It's actually dayofthedeadflorida.com.
Day of the Dead, Florida.
Yeah, I'm hearing a little bit of that. So once you're in it, raise your hand. Once you're in the website, would you mind opening up the website for me? And I'm going to ask you to navigate, because I've already gone a little bit longer than I wanted to. So here we are. Who's in it? In it? We got a couple people in it. Who's not in it? It's a race. Whoever the last one is doesn't win a prize. Okay, Day of the Dead, Florida. All right, can you scroll down a little bit? All right, so Day of the Dead, Florida. Here's some of our Riverwalk covers. Here's our little promo video. Can you scooch up a little bit further? Or, I'm sorry, down. Keep going, keep going. These are some of the exhibitions. You'll learn about the Ofrenda exhibition. Keep scrolling. All of our sponsors who we love, keep going. Our map, again, so you can have your PDF of the map, and then you can take me back up to the top. Now, if you can go into events, please, and then go to calendar of events. When you go into calendar of events, these are all of our events. We are not just one day. We are very similar to what Winterfest does. It is months and months of events. So you go down to November 2nd, right there. And let's see what's happening November. Oh, look, Day of the Dead, right there. Let's see what happens. All of these are happening, and each of these have live links that go into an event that you can participate that has additional information on Facebook. So my hope to you is to actually go to our website, meander around there, check out all of the different opportunities. I'd love if a few of you could put together an ofrenda, and if you can absolutely be there on the Day of the Dead and invite your folks, that would be fantastic. So we go back into the PowerPoint, and we're just going to go forward through the last two slides. Passing that, all of these are the workshops. Sugar Skull workshop, costuming workshop, there's a shadow workshop for kids, and here's my contact info. So I left my card on everyone's chair or in front of you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer one or two questions right now, but please email me questions. Yes. Actually, she had her hand up before you.
You said shoebox size ofrenda?
Yeah, so ofrenda is the maximum size is 3 feet by 3 feet by 4 feet. But a lot of people do, there's one woman whose brother was, they were from Cuba, and he loved cigars. So she made her ofrenda to him out of a cigar box from his favorite cigars. Nice. So really think about the symbolism when you're creating that. And the deadline to submit an application is the 20th of September, and you'll see that on that calendar.
And I wish you excellent weather.
The Aztec ancient peoples have always been good to us. Even though load-in and startup has been rainy, the good news is we've been lucky. Yes.
Madam President, I would like to have the honor to propose to this board that the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Associations officially endorse this event, and we move forward from here, so we get the full endorsement of 67 neighborhoods together to stand behind.
Amazing. Thank you.
I second it.
100%. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, okay, there you go. All right.
Now you're going to make me cry again.
Just one
And-
quick
yeah.
question. Your map has the river as Tarpon River. It's not, it's the new river.
Oh, my gosh, you know what it was that came off the Google Maps? Thank you so much. The reason why we... We actually, they misnamed Huizinga Plaza as well. And thank you for catching that. So, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Do we have to RSVP, like the Sugar Skull makeup thing? or-
Yeah, so most of the workshops like have a top end.
Okay.
So my recommendation is to go into the schedule, identify the ones that you want to participate in, click on it, go to the Facebook event, and then what we'll do is when we start reaching the limit, our organizers of each of those workshops will contact everyone in there and say, okay, we're at the limit, now we're going to need to cut it off at this point. So we will eventually have it sold out. But everyone who gets above, like in the first 40 or first 50, the puppet one, we can have up to 200 people at. Fortunately, we've only had about 100, but we could do up to 200.
Couple more questions and we're gonna...
Yes?
Yeah, besides maybe just volunteering as a group, is there any way you recommend something particularly good for a neighborhood to participate together as a neighborhood?
Yes. So on the procession, that's an awesome question. So in the procession, we have these giant puppets. You saw several of the puppets. Our tallest puppet is 18 feet tall. Okay. Each of these puppets need anywhere from 3 or 4 people to up to 20 people. And these are called skeleton crews, K-R-E-W-E-S, similar to the crews that you have in New Orleans during what? So we have our skeleton crews, and if your association has got that half a dozen to a dozen folks who really want to join, what you can do is contact me, and I will put you in contact with the 2 processional leaders. And then you can all wear the same shirt, you can hold a banner, you can do whatever you want, and then you are officially participating as the volunteer sponsor of that particular puppet vignette. Frida, you're familiar with the restaurant, not Frida, Casa Frida. Casa Frida has actually been our volunteer sponsor for our 18-foot tall Frida Kahlo puppet for years. So Frida Kahlo is used, but we have many other puppets, a giant cat and dog. We have many other puppets that are available. But that's an awesome question. All right, last question. Thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Colleen.
That was amazing.
I appreciate it. You're amazing.
So, I don't think there's any debate that this is a widely loved man. He's uber talented and deeply compassionate. The mayor is a huge fan, so we're very grateful. Thank you very much. And we're all going to be there on November 2nd, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And whatever the second best puppet is, we want that one.
Awesome. So I've got one other thing that I failed to say. Remember the whole All-America City Award that we won a couple years ago?
Yes.
Yeah. I actually wrote and directed that for some of those who were in here. And it was in part because I love this city so much that we tried to tell an incredibly authentic, real story. So for those who have seen me before working with the city, that's the last time
One of our board members suggested that the honorary memorial, we could do something in honor of Ron. So we'll take that and discuss it more. So thank you very much,
right, thank
Jim.
you.
Appreciate it. Everyone take a flyer.
Yes, please take some cards, and thank you for your time.
Awesome. One more time. We're moving the agenda around, and I'll do that. Look, we're moving the agenda around, and we have Commissioner Rydell speaking next because he has another speaking engagement. And before I introduce him, I just want to acknowledge Ray Rapaglia. You know, he's not a member of our homeowners associations, but he is a wonderful man who enormously helps out in the community with volunteers for any and every need that you have. And he runs a wonderful group of sober homes called James Club. So it's a glorious man off Wall Street, down in Fort Lauderdale now. We're very grateful to you.
Thank you, Colleen. Thank you.
All right, so Josh, if I could have you come up. So Josh is an attorney. He, I guess, moved to Florida to pursue law at Nova. He is the third youngest elected official in the county.
I don't even know if that counts anymore.
So he
Sounds good.
He was elected county commissioner in 2015. He sits on several boards and councils, among them some substance abuse advisory board for the county, which I think he might be turning over to Ray, SAC among others. We are going to occasionally highlight at this council best examples from other municipalities. And in this case, we have an example of another government, Coconut Creek, partnering with law enforcement and other members of the community to do something to highlight and acknowledge youth. The program that Josh is going to talk about is called Do the Right Thing. Please help me welcome Josh.
I don't have any handouts, and I have no PowerPoint, but I have sort of a loud, booming voice. So Joshua Rydell, I'm a city commissioner in Coconut Creek. I was the mayor for the past 2 years, and we rotate in the city, so you don't have that form of government here. I've talked to some, I guess, your executive board about a program we do in our city that has become near and dear to me, that I've gone around the county pitching to other elected officials and other community active organizations. And that's called, we have a program, we're the first in Southeast Florida to run a program. And I will say this, I love taking credit for things, but not things that I didn't create. So this isn't a novel idea. This is a nationwide program that has not really broken into Florida yet. But I would urge you all when I'm done here, and I can talk about how we can engage it. And that program is called the Do the Right Thing campaign. What is Do the Right Thing? Do the Right Thing is a partnership between a municipality, their local police department, and the school board. Okay? Do the Right Thing is an agreement that all these people come together, and in our city we've done it as a essentially government nonprofit, but we have partners and community actors throughout. Because the one interesting thing is, the most important thing I think in any community is what? Our youth, right? Hands down. I think the one thing we could agree on, whether you're a parent, a grandparent, whether you don't have kids, whether you have kids that are long and gone and out of your hair, and you're an empty nester, the most important thing in our community is our youth by far. And we've come to an interesting kind of head that there's a big disconnect between our youth and law enforcement. There's a big disconnect with law enforcement in the community right now in any capacity. On whatever side, and this isn't political, on whatever side of the world you fall on, there's a disconnect. So we've noticed that in our city, and we've said, hey, how do we fix it? How do we get our kids connected with our police department in a really positive way that's going to bring people forward? So we generated a program. We're going into our third inaugural campaign, and I made a commitment to my police chief this summer that I'm going to go around the county and talk about it and sign up other cities. We have 2 other cities that are doing kind of beta test type programs now, and I'd love to get you guys to go to your representatives, because I'm sure you know who represents you, right? You know who your elected officials are, and get them to do something like this. Now, what is Do the Right Thing? Do the Right Thing is a monthly program that we utilize, that we celebrate at a commission meeting once a month, kids in our schools anywhere from kindergarten to 12th grade. What does that mean? And 1 teacher. So it's usually in how we do it in our city, or a bigger city, you could do it in a different way. It's 5 kids, 1 teacher every month. And what does that mean? We do a program that teachers, community activists, community leaders could nominate kids that really simply do the right thing. What does that mean? We have a we're doing our first one next week, and if you guys find me on Facebook, I have a really easy name. It's like Bobby Rydell, or Rydell High, or anything like that. Easy guy to find. But what does it mean? A kindergartner that led a campaign to collect canned goods to send to Puerto Rico. Now, what did this kindergartner do? He collected a shopping cart of food, but he did the right thing. We had a 12th grade girl who is on a full swimming scholarship going to UF that was the first responder pulled over to a terrible car accident and pulled an elderly man out of a car that ended up exploding. So this is the gambit we're talking about. We're talking about kids that do anti-bullying campaigns, or somebody that's a second grader that befriends the new kid that may look different but sits with them at lunch. This is what we're promoting. And we do it in a way that we've engaged our local associations, we've engaged our homeowners associations, we've engaged our community activists to nominate these kids. We all know in our communities that really one unique kid that goes out of his way, or the kid that's sitting on the side of a road with a lemonade stand that maybe a third grader to donate the money to the Bahamas for what happened. These actions can't be taken in a vacuum. They have to be taken in a way, let's celebrate that. Let's lead by example, and let's partner with our police department. So when you come to a Do the Right Thing Coconut Creek meeting, you're going to see my entire police department packed in the commission chambers. You're going to see these kids being extolled by their parents, their family, their friends. They're given an award. They're given a bag with books and gift cards to local businesses. They're given essentially an award for doing the right thing, and they're acknowledged by community leaders. They're acknowledged by active people. I mean, in Fort Lauderdale, you got packed commission chambers to begin with, but this is even bigger than that because it's not on a general meeting, we do it before. So this is a program that we believe, and I believe if I can get it out there and get that message out, that truly connects communities with kids, which we need, our community police actors, the police department, who steps up, because we do it in the vein of law enforcement. And a lot of times the best connection really is through our SROs. So in the city of Fort Lauderdale, every one of your schools has a police officer at it, and most of them are funded by the city of Fort Lauderdale Police Department. So you, in your city schools, have an SRO, a school resource officer. And that person, we have found, because we've tried to do it in different ways, is the ground actor to knowing about that school. They're the guy or the girl that knows every little thing that goes on at that school. And those are the people that we've engaged. And a lot of our nominations have come through our SROs. And it really is a community building effort that we've branded, and this national effort to what we call Do the Right Thing Coconut Creek. What I would love more than anything, and now we've built it over these 3 years, we're doing scholarships. So in our Do the Right Thing campaign in our high schools, we're able to give scholarships, because I'll tell you right now, the easiest thing is this is a room of active people, right? You care about your communities. It's transparent just by the willingness to serve on a board, the willingness to give up a night to come here and listen to people like me. I'm not the puppet master. I love Jim, but I'm not that excited. But before I got elected, I was the president of my homeowner association. You don't get paid for this. No. You do this because you love your community. You do this because you want the best for your community. Whether it's your streets, your shrubs, your neighborhoods, whatever code, whatever it is, you do this for the good reasons. But and I'm asking, go a little further. Let's do it in the capacity where we're trying to really take care of our kids. Because it's not, our kids are our future. And we've created this program in Coconut Creek, and it has blown up. And when you talk to community actors, not just actors in this room that do this for the benefit of the best of their heart, we're talking about local corporations, local businesses. They love this. And they will willingly write checks. Which is, at the end of the day, it's about money. But we're able to raise so much money, and we're giving out, I think, almost $10,000 in scholarships to seniors and juniors this year that do the right thing. Wow. So it's morphed into something that I have now said, and I want to thank the executive members of the board for bringing me here with an opportunity to say this. I've gone in front of other commissions. I've invited commissioners. We've had commissioners for our program that have come from across Broward County to come and witness it and want to take it back to their city. But I've also said I'm going to go to communities and let them know. Because we really have an opportunity right now and this is kind of like critical mass. We're at a point where society's at a place where there's not the best connection with our youth and law enforcement. It's a fact. You can read it in the newspaper. It's how the news presents things. We need to bridge that gap. And this is a really good way to bridge it, because my police chief, when he gives his speech and he's engaged in this, the first thing he says is, we have I don't care if they're a kindergartner or a 12th grader. You see this room filled with 100 police officers, they're your friends, and you did the right thing, and we're always going to do the right thing by you. And that's comforting. It's really comforting to know. And it also builds into a component of what the modern day police adage is the definition of community policing. the definition that policing from years ago isn't what it used to be. Community policing is engaging in your communities. And this is the message I bring to you today. I'll answer a couple questions if you have any, but I will tell you there's really creative ways. You have a very, very receptive mayor in the city of Fort Lauderdale that I pitched this to literally a couple weeks ago at an event I saw him at. He embraced it, he liked it, he wants to hear more. I invited him to one of my meetings. I'm going to talk to some of your other commissioners. I just met one of the representatives of one of your other commissioners in Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to call her after this and pitch her on the same thing. So this is an opportunity to really build momentum, but it doesn't start because who am I to the city of Fort Lauderdale? Nobody. I'm a guy in a city that's west of 95. Well, most people in Fort Lauderdale don't even know that there's a world west of 95. There's a really big world west of 95. I promise you I'm from it, okay? But this is, it's really an opportunity that I can get some of these cities on board with this. We have an opportunity to really change our youth in such a positive way. And I've seen the aftermath of it. And just this last story, and then I'll answer a couple questions. So we have a big U-Haul in the city of Coconut Creek. Big U-Haul branch, corporate branch. They're one of our corporate sponsors. Do you know what they do every time? They come and what their donation is in U-Haul, all right? Is all the winners that they do, they put their picture on the side of the U-Haul. Okay? And here's the best part. They have like these QR, the little scan tags. So these U-Hauls go all around the country, and the kids who are winners can see where the U-Haul has been. And it promotes this do the right thing. So it's just a little thing that is this corporate actor that, you know, he's given some trucks, but he comes and we're changing lives by this message of doing the right thing on this partnership. So I'll answer a couple questions. I truly appreciate the time that both of you allowed me to come and speak on this.
Have you gone to DC yet? Just kidding.
For the U-Hauls?
Washington DC, do the right thing.
So I will tell you this. So if you look up online, the campaign exists nationwide. We have did I miss that over my head?
Yeah, that went over here.
Okay.
Picking on politicians.
I'm one of those too, so I mean.
Are there any serious questions?
Very good, Madam Chair.
Okay, so this is a beautiful, beautiful program. We all agree? And I will say this about both Josh and Jim. It's quite one thing to have a great idea, right? And very few people have a good idea, and those that do, we acknowledge, artists, whatever. It's quite another to implement that idea. And what we see in both these examples are the extended implementation of a collaborative glue with our community, which are to be highly applauded and sought after on our part. So, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that we support this kind of thing. I will also mention this is not a promotion of Josh, but he is running for state attorney for the county of Broward, so just FYI. Can we give Josh one last thank you? That was incredible. Yeah. Okay, our next speaker is Karina. If I could have you come up. Karina from the city staff is from the sustainability department, is going to talk about Green Your Routine. And Keith, I'm going to have you go right after about Adopt a Drain. So all told, if we could do this in about 10 minutes or so, that would be great. Do you have a presentation?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Keith, are you going to pull it up for her? All right. Should we have a motion about do the right thing?
Yeah, while she's doing that, what can we do to facilitate this? Can we pass a motion urging the mayor to explore participating in the Do the Right Thing program? I would make that motion.
Yeah,
Can I make that motion?
I was waiting for someone to.
Okay, I would like to amend it. I think I didn't make it yet. Let me make the whole thing. Then you can amend it. I would like to make a motion that the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Association urges the mayor to explore our participation in our very own Do the Right Thing program.
Oh, wonderful. And discussion?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I want to amend Marilyn's motion to make it urge the mayor and the chief of police.
Oh, yes. I agree.
Yeah.
Because their 501c3 is, the officers are police officers.
Okay, I would gratefully accept that amendment. So
Okay.
it's urging the mayor, and we have a second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so resounding ayes for both last motions. Thank you all very much. And I also want to acknowledge Board Member Christina, who brought Josh to our attention, and thank you. Come on, Christina, wonderful. Okay, so I don't have your bio. Would you mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about you first?
Sure.
And I will say this about Green Your Routine. For those that are involved in GYR, how many have GYR reps? Okay, so you've seen a noticeable improvement in the last several months with the new administration and leadership, and a large part of that has to do with this young lady right here. So please help me welcome Karina.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Karina Flores. I'm the program coordinator for the Green Your Routine program. Just a little bit about me. I'm almost a year into this position. Came from Florida State with the environmental science background, and I really got into sustainability, and that's why I was brought into this program. And I have my manager with me, Melissa Doyle, solid waste and recycling program manager. So for those of you who don't know what Green Your Routine is, it's a program that works to promote waste reduction, recycling, and sustainability in all aspects of your life, home, school, work, play. And it does this by engaging neighbors in volunteerism and education. So Green Your Routine representatives liaise between their association and the Green Your Routine coordinator, which is me, to volunteer for different sustainability-related opportunities, earn funds through the Sustainability Incentive Grant, and the funds that they earn at the end of the year, they take 25% of that, or a minimum of 25%, and they choose a sustainable community project that they would like to take on in their own communities. So benefit from the SIG, this is just, okay. So this is just a chart showing you how much money. We have about 28 associations involved in the program right now. Right now there's over $25,000 that they've raised between these 28 associations, and we're looking for it to go to $30,000 or above at the end of this fiscal year. Associations have used their grant awards to help fund monthly newsletters on recycled paper, maintenance and beautification of their entryways with Florida-friendly landscaping, recycled cotton welcome bags for their new neighbors, upgrading to LED bulbs in buildings, installation of solar lighting. Basically, any project that your community wants to do that's sustainability related, you just let me know and we approve the project, and you're able to use that money with whatever your community wants to do. So who are the Green Your Routine volunteers? They're just residents in one of the recognized civic associations. They're environmentally conscious individuals who want to help the city reach its goals. And they earn funds for their association through their volunteer efforts and projects. So each of our events or the projects that they take on count for a certain amount of points. 1 point equates to $45. And at the end of the year, they basically raise these funds and they're able to take that money back to their associations. So this fiscal year, we have 26 recognized associations that are participating in the program. Actually, as of today, it's gone to 27. We just got, oh my goodness, Harbor Inlet, I believe, that just joined this program. So in this fiscal year, they've contributed almost 900 volunteer hours, given away over 1,000 trees at tree giveaways in their own neighborhood event projects. They've collected 101,735 pounds of household hazardous waste and over 37,000 pounds of electronics at our household hazardous waste events. And in total, there's been over 150 different volunteers involved in the program from all of these associations. And again, they've earned over $25,000 for their association. How can you get involved? Volunteer opportunities include helping at neighborhood cleanup events. Yeah, you might recognize people. They're also in the room. Volunteering at city events to increase the quality of recycling. This is at Jazz Brunch. Educating the public on sustainability topics. This is Great American Beach Party and Big Toy and Truck Extravaganza, which is next month. Supporting events like the household hazardous waste events and quarterly tree giveaways. Maintaining a butterfly garden in Snyder Park. Planting sea oaks in dunes along the beach. This is an event that took place this fiscal year. And we also had businesses in the city of Fort Lauderdale come out to this event as well. We like to partner with businesses, schools, anyone in the city of Fort Lauderdale that's interested. And we have a lot more opportunities to earn points. You can coordinate your own neighborhood event, participate in Adopt a Street or Adopt a Drain programs, which you'll hear about later. Establishing certified wildlife habitats in your own communities, hosting a tree giveaway, putting sustainability articles in your newsletter, or posting it on social media. So come join us. And this is our commission picture from last fiscal year. I actually just started. To get your association involved, a representative needs to complete an application and submit it to the gyr@fortlauderdale.gov email. And we just ask that representatives are able to attend at least 3 of the 6 bi-monthly meetings that we have yearly.
And you make points for attending those meetings.
Yes, and you make a point for attending the meeting. Another incentive. If you want to learn more about the Green Your Team program, you can visit this website. I also brought program cards. That's like a really good synopsis of the program. And I have my business cards if anybody wants to contact me and has any questions. I can take some right now.
That was a wonderful presentation. That was great. Any questions from anyone? Everybody's got their SIG application ready to go?
When's the deadline again?
This Friday the 13th.
Okay, thank you.
It's a really wonderful program. Very well done. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right. Please help me welcome, thanks to Rita one last time. So not on the agenda, but we're going to sneak him in. Keith Farrell, our MPA fellow from last month, he's going to talk very, very briefly, Keith, about Adopt a Drain program that the city is hosting.
All right. Thanks, Colleen. Yeah, this is just going to be a couple minutes because it's actually just a program that the city is launching, but it's piloting it only in 4 neighborhoods. So unfortunately, it doesn't impact a lot of you, but we just want to make the CFLCA aware of the program now so that hopefully it's successful in its pilot stage and we can launch it citywide next year. So Adopt a Drain is in some ways very similar to the Adopt a Street program we have. As you guys might be already able to intuitively guess, instead of adopting streets, you're adopting storm drains, which is important because the city deals with a lot of flooding. And also it's important because a lot of hazards go into the storm drains, which eventually get into our waterways and impact our wildlife. So we have launched this program. It's launched in a number of cities across the country, including San Francisco, which did an efficacy study which showed that the number of reports on storm drains and flooding had decreased by 60% of what they had been projecting over a 2-year period. So programs like this have been shown to work, and we're going to test it out here in Fort Lauderdale. This year, so fall of 2019 to fall of 2020, it's just launching in these 4 neighborhoods here: Imperial Point, Victoria Park, Durs, and Edgewood. It doesn't necessarily mean that you all can't participate. It just means that the drains in these neighborhoods are the ones that are open for adoption. The other unique thing about this program that separates it from, say, Adopt a Street or some of the other programs is that it's completely app-based, which is something new, and it's another reason we're piloting it. You don't need to fill out any paperwork. You don't need to email anything to me. You just go on to the application, which I'll show in a second, and you can adopt a drain, name it a funky title, and then log any maintenance activities that you do for the drain. So again, this year it's a pilot. We're kind of using this as an MVP cycle, so we're asking the neighborhoods that are participating to give us feedback so that we can improve the program and so that it's ready for a city launch next fall. Just a couple reasons why this program is really important. Right now the city spends yearly almost $1 million of its general fund budget on storm drains and storm drain maintenance. So hopefully this program will help reduce some of those costs. Here's some examples of a before and after storm drain of which they're clean. So that's what we're hoping our neighbors can help us do, so that we don't need to send city officials out to do that. And then just some of the benefits of a program like this: it creates awareness about storm drain management, it prevents water pollution, it limits flooding after storms, and it promotes, just like some of our other ADOPT programs, promotes community building. So there's just 4 really easy steps to get involved for those of you that are in those 4 neighborhoods, or if you want to adopt a drain in one of those neighborhoods, you visit our website, you adopt a drain, you name the drain, and then you, on a monthly basis, clean and report that you have cleaned the drain. And our website is just fortlauderdale.gov/adopt-a-drain. So again, I'm just kind of relaying this information to you all in case you get inquiries from some of your neighbors or other members of your HOAs, to let them know about the program and that it's hopefully coming to your neighborhood soon. Yes?
Wonderful idea. We've got 3 questions, right? Oh, sorry.
So can we get green routine points for doing this?
Yes, you can.
Awesome. Jim?
Do you have any guidelines? You showed a slide that had like foliage growing in the drain.
Yes.
You wouldn't want to have somebody put like a toxic chemical to kill the foliage. So are there guidelines? There's safety guidelines too, I'm sure. Are those on the website? How do you administer that part of the program?
Yeah, we don't want to pour in any toxic or any type of cleaners down the drains, but there's a training video on our website that you can watch, and it just goes you step by step how you clean a drain. And there's also certain activities that we list that we don't want you to do, but we want you to notify the city about, so that they can come out and handle it.
Great.
Yeah, I also wanted to discourage the toxins.
Cool. All right.
That's a very cool point. Please help me thank Tate. Our final presenter is none other than Erica Johnson. She's a structural innovation manager from the city. She's an engineer. She's a process expert. And we all have been familiar and have been reviewing closely, and we're going to talk about it a little later, the comp plan, comprehensive plan. Erica is here tonight to talk about the city strategic plan. Slightly different. I think we're going to like it. And she's going to talk a little bit about herself and then talk about the plan and take questions. Please help me welcome Erica.
Thank you so much for welcoming me here tonight. I'm excited about the opportunity to share with you a little bit about our strategic plan and hopefully give you a little bit of background about what exactly is a strategic plan and how does it differ from some of the other city plans. But first, you already gave me a great introduction, probably better than I'm about to do, but my name is Erica Johnson. I work in the city manager's office. I'm currently the structural innovation manager. Structural innovation is responsible for quite a few different things in the city. Everything from strategic planning, which I'm going to touch on today, quality management, performance management, process improvement, really kind of everything in that data analytical wheelhouse. So we get the opportunity to touch a lot of different activities in the city, and it's quite a fun position if I do say so myself. But today I'm going to focus in on strategic planning. Specifically, Press Play 2024, which seems like a long way away, but it's only 5 years away. And I'm here to talk to you about our 5-year strategic plan. Now, before I get too far in the weeds, I want to give you a little bit of background on what is the strategic plan and its purpose. And the strategic plan is a high-level organizational plan that sets goals for our organization over the next 5 years. Now, this differs from some of the other city plans that you might be familiar with, such as the comp plan, the sustainability action plan, maybe some transportation plans, because this puts together one uniform high-level goal for the city. Every plan and operational activity that happens supports this one goal. So that way we're not planning against each other or creating contradictions. The strategic plan is that really high-level thing that all of those other plans and operational activities support and work towards. We strategically manage resource allocation through the strategic plan, so everything that the budget office does, they're ensuring that the resources that we have in place support the activities and goals of the strategic plan. It guides decision-making and policy recommendations that we might make over the course of the next 5 years. And it also tracks our progress and outcomes. And I think this is really critical because it is absolutely important that we have an objective way of understanding whether or not we've achieved our goals or not. So we do that through key performance indicators in our performance management program, but I definitely want to emphasize that for you this morning, that there is accountability through this plan. Just because I know that everyone learns a little bit differently, this is a visual representation of kind of what I just walked through. So this follows, and I realize if you're in the back, you probably can't see this, so I brought some cards. If you need a copy of anything, let me know and I'll send it out. But this is how we look at strategic management here in the city. It follows a plan, do, check, act process. So in the planning cycle, we have Fast Forward Fort Lauderdale, which is our vision plan, which the city adopted in 2018. It runs through 2035, so about 22-year plan. It's very long term. And this was really involved with a lot of community engagement for you and the rest of the city in determining what do we want Fort Lauderdale to look like in 2035. Now, you know, there's a lot of really good guesses and ideas that come with that plan, so that's why it's a long-range, high-level plan. But we have to have a vehicle of getting there and achieving that vision. And that's where the 5-year strategic plan comes in. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. But because it's so high level, I want to give you a little bit of a glimpse of some of the more detailed operational things that we do throughout the year to support that activity. We have a short-term, 1-year commission annual action plan, which is where our commissioners set priorities for city staff to achieve the goals of the strategic plan. We have our annual operating budget and CIP, which is where we do our resource allocation. And then we have annual business plans that is really where the departments get an opportunity to take ownership and create some operational projects and initiatives, understanding their challenges that they're going to have over the next few years and how those tie to the strategic plan. Now, it's one thing to do all these plans, it's another thing to actually do it. So we have to move into the do piece. And this is where we're talking about those individual projects that we've planned. We actually have to start reporting on our progress and doing them. We have department core processes, and another way to rephrase this is really the core functions of the city. Providing clean water to you, having emergency response available. Those things are our core functions, and that's what we do, and all of that is tied to the strategic plan. We also check to make sure that we're actually doing what we say we're going to do, that accountability. We look at key performance indicators. We have regular updates and meetings. And then we also evaluate the neighbor survey results that come out annually. This is your opportunity as neighbors, if you receive the survey, to let the city know how satisfied you are with the quality of life in the city and our services that we provide to you. We make any improvements in the act phase, and then we start all over again, whether that's on a 20-year cycle, a 5-year cycle like I'm here tonight to talk about, or on an annual cycle. Now that you kind of see how all of those pieces fit together, I also want to emphasize that as an organization, we have to have a lot of alignment for the strategic plan. You know, a lot of times organizations throw out this idea of mission, vision, values. And here in the city, we build community as our city mission. You see that on our t-shirts and our polos, on our parking garage, and all the documentation that gets sent out to you. So it's something that we're working very actively to live. We also have our vision as identified in the vision plan. We want to be a community of choice. We want people to choose to live here, and we want them to never want to leave. And then we also have our organizational values that really emphasize how we want to treat each other in the city, with integrity, compassion, accountability, respect, and excellence to always be an excellent organization. So now that I've given you a little bit of background, it's time to actually get into what you're excited to hear about, and that is the strategic plan. So the strategic plan, the structure of what I'm going to go over with you in a few moments, is a 3-tiered structure. And the first is the focus areas. These are the high-level ideas of things that we want to focus on in the organization. You might have seen these on our city logo, but they are infrastructure, which we know is a priority of our city. So thinking about our roads, the pipes in the ground, the trees that we have. Looking at public places, our parks, our green spaces, our beach. Neighborhood enhancement. Fort Lauderdale has such a rich kaleidoscope of diversity and unique neighborhoods here in the city. We want to continue to foster that and support your needs and desires as neighborhoods. Then looking at business development. We want to attract and retain businesses here. Not only do we want Fort Lauderdale to be a place where people want to live, but we also want them to work here as well. Public safety, making sure that when you're living and working here, you feel safe. And then also this internal support, which I'm going to touch on a little bit more specifically later, and the value that this provides to you as residents. But this is looking at the city as an organization, those services that are internal. So think about the finance, human resources aspect of our city. Then we have the goals within each focus area, and that's what we want to achieve over the next 5 years. And then objectives are how we're going to achieve those goals. So this is the three-tiered approach. In this plan, we have 8 goals. Now, 8 goals for the entire organization is evidence of how high level this plan is, and that is done intentionally because we know that we have a lot of operational plans that need to align within this. If we had tied everything in, there would be no need for all of the other plans in the city. Also, this would never be a never-ending planning process. Within those 8 goals, we have 34 objectives that identify how we're going to do what we want to do. So within the first focus area, infrastructure, we actually have 2 goals. And the first one is to build a sustainable and resilient community. Okay, that's great. How are we going to do it? We're going to do it in quite a variety of different ways. We have a few strategies that we're going to focus on over the next 5 years. The first one is to proactively maintain our water, wastewater, stormwater, bridge, and road infrastructure. We also want to secure our community's water supply, make sure that we have water available to use. Manage our solid waste. We already heard from Green Your Routine earlier today, but think about, recycling and waste diversion programs. Ensuring climate change resiliency and that we're implementing mitigation strategies, but at the same time reduce flooding in our neighborhoods and adapt to sea level rise. We also want to actively monitor beach resiliency and support nourish efforts and grow and enhance the urban forest. We know this is a hot topic, so we have quite a few different strategies that we plan to do over the next 5 years. The second goal is more transportation focused. So looking at our community as a multimodal and pedestrian friendly community that's suitable for a variety of modes of travel, whether that's vehicular, pedestrian, bicycle. And we're going to do this through 2 objectives. By improving transportation options and reducing congestion, and then also improving our roads, sidewalks, and trails so that we can be a safer, more walkable and bikeable community. Moving on to the second focus area, public places. This goal is very simple. We want to be a healthy and engaging community. We want to improve, we're going to do that by improving access to and enjoyment of our beach, which is one of the most beautiful features I have to say about Fort Lauderdale. Our many waterways and canals, parks, and open spaces for everyone. We want to improve our water quality and natural environment. We have miles and miles of canals and beautiful trees. We want to make sure that that is safe and healthy. We want to enhance the city's identity through public art, well-maintained streetscapes, green spaces, landscaping. This is a beautiful, attractive place. When you arrive in Fort Lauderdale, you know you've arrived. And then offering a diverse range of recreational and educational programming, not only suited for the needs of our community, but also the desires. Moving on to the next focus area is neighborhood enhancement. I touched on this before, and I know that this is a really great community that's really interested in this specific issue. And our 4th goal is to build a thriving and inclusive community of neighborhoods. We're going to do this by working with partners to reduce homelessness by promoting independence and self-worth. We also want to ensure a range of affordable housing options so that everyone who desires to live in Fort Lauderdale is able to do so. And then also to create a continuum of education services and support. Think about this as those wraparound services to really support our educational efforts. Business development is the next focus area. We have another goal within this area to build an attractive global and local economic community marketplace. We want to do this by creating a responsive and proactive business climate that attracts emerging industries, but we also want to nurture and support those that are already existing within the city, whether those are small local businesses or major corporate companies. We want to create educational pathways and partnerships for workforce development so that we have the talent pool available and ready to support those industries. And we also will provide best-in-class regional general aviation amenities and services, really leveraging that executive airport that we have up on Commercial to support our industries here in our city. Public safety. This one is so simple. We want to build a safe and well-prepared community. We're going to do that by preventing and solving crime in all neighborhoods, providing quick and exceptional emergency response, and then more on the emergency preparedness side. We want to internally be the leading model in domestic preparedness, but we also want to educate our stakeholders on community risk reduction, homeland security, and domestic preparedness so that it's on both sides, internal and external. And here we are at internal support. I mentioned this earlier, and I really want to emphasize to you today what the value this brings and how it's value add for our neighbors. So this is our internal services, our IT, our human resources, the financial capacity. And really we want to enhance this and focus on this because if we are able to hire and retain qualified, professional, passionate employees, It's in turn going to provide better, more efficient, and effective services for you as neighbors. We want to make sure that you have trust in those that are providing services, whether that's cleaning a storm drain, our police officers designing bridges. So this is really emphasized on efficient, effective government that makes sure tax dollars go farther. So we have two goals under this focus area. And the first is to build a values-based organization that's dedicated to developing and retaining employees. We are going to do that by establishing an organizational culture that fosters rewarding professional careers so that we can attract and retain those qualified professionals. We want to improve employee safety and wellness, provide effective internal communication, because the more and effective communication we have internally, in turn, the better the communication we can share with you externally. Continuously improve service delivery. Often this comes through innovation, but we know that things are rapidly changing. We want to continue to provide things to you and services in the best way possible. And then we want to be a diverse and inclusive organization that mirrors our community. Our second goal is a little bit more focused on the financial aspect of internal support. So build a leading government organization that manages resources wisely and sustainably. We're going to do that by maintaining our financial integrity, looking at our procurement services, making sure that those vendors that we hire to work within the city are providing, in turn, excellent quality services that you would expect from us. Provide a reliable and progressive technology infrastructure. Technology is so hard to keep up with. It's moving so rapidly at such an immense pace, and we need to keep up with that because we know that that's what our neighbors are expecting from us. Provide a safe, well-maintained, and efficient facilities and capital assets, such as our fleet. We know that we have a couple of bonds in the works, such as the police bond, and we want to make sure that the facilities that we're improving, that we continue to maintain those in the future. And then also we want to integrate sustainability and resiliency into daily operations. A very simple example of this is switching out regular light bulbs for LED bulbs. It saves us money and they last longer. Very simple, very effective. So I kind of breezed through all of those because it's a lot, and I know I only had a few moments of your time today. But you know, we can't just stop short of planning. It's really great to have a really good plan, but if all it does is sit on the shelf for the next 5 years, we failed. So we have some implementation strategies already in place, and things that we've already done. This is actually our second iteration of the 5-year strategic plan. The first one was adopted in 2013, and now we're looking to adopt our second iteration of this. And so some of these implementation strategies are already in place, but we're always looking to improve. So through our Commission Annual Action Plan, our commissioners and mayor take the opportunity to prioritize initiatives that city staff actively works on, and we report that to the Commission. So there is an accountability aspect there. And then also through our adopted budget, we look at our resource allocation, making sure that we have the right resources and tools in the right places so that we can actually achieve the goals that we've set place. Also not up here, I mentioned earlier the business plans. This is really an opportunity for our departments to have ownership over the operations and how they tie to the strategic plan. We track all of this through performance indicators, so we have an objective way of identifying whether or not we've reached our targets. Are there any questions or comments? I know I went through a very, very high-level plan very, very quickly.
I just want to commend you on an excellent.
Yeah, you did a
excellent
wonderful
presentation.
job.
You just really have your heart.
Really know your stuff.
Excellent presentation.
Thank you so much.
Did you have your hand raised, Christine? Yeah, I wanted to know if you would be willing to email this to me so that I can post it on our website.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, and we forgot parliamentarian rules. We should be announcing our name and our neighborhood and all that. So, hi, I'm Colleen. My question, or maybe a comment first, is goal number 8, internal support.
Let me go back.
Commend you on that, because I think that's the core of the circle. You can't do anything unless you got a solid, well-managed, high-integrity run organization. And to place value on that is remarkable and wonderful. The question I have, and I don't know how to phrase this, and it may not even be appropriate for the city strategic plan. In our neighborhood, we've got FPL coming through with large concrete poles because of the hardening project. And AT&T is coming down another street marking things. I've been told the municipality doesn't have relationship with the utility because they're mandated by the state and they operate fairly independently. So I guess my question is there room in here to examine the interdependency and intrusion is the wrong word, but kind of the intersection of not just the other aspects of what occur throughout the county, but this utility and other organizations that are impacting our community. What is the city's role in that? Does it belong in the strategic plan anywhere? And it may be otherwise it's just an editorial comment.
I think this is one, if I could just, I'm going to go all the way to the front of the slideshow here. It's longer than I thought. I think this is one opportunity from what you were just speaking about to tie into the business plans at an operational level. I think a lot of what you're talking about happens on a case-by-case basis. So this is where we really look to departments to take ownership of those challenges. In our business plans, we have departments identify challenges already at a 1-year and 3-year outlook. And then we have them identify a strategy, whether a mitigation strategy, if it's something that we can't really do, so we just identify and address the risk. And that allows our departments to have ownership and really develop those relationships on a one-off basis, because we know that relationship building is so unique to individuals and departments. So I think that might be an option, and certainly an appropriate place that's already happening. But we can talk about it.
And are you looking for the council to endorse, support, do any action you want from us tonight?
Really, I came to get your feedback. I wanted to, while this is an internal high-level plan, I think it's absolutely important that the community be involved in this process and understand some of the things that we've done. We did include on this year's annual neighbor survey some questions related to the strategic plan to kind of kick off this planning process, and now I'm looking to bring it full circle and, make sure that we didn't leave anything out like you highlighted, see if there's any questions or concerns.
Okay. Jim, and then...
Conn, in your performance review and your evaluation when you go through all these processes, do you engage some of the TQM, total quality management aspects?
We haven't been...
Six Sigma, I mean, those terms may not be familiar to everybody in the room, but they're measurements and they're guidelines so that when you do those evaluations, you have milestones and benchmarks that take you through that.
Internally, as an organization, again, I don't know if it will mean anything to anybody, but our quality management systems, looking at our service delivery and how we kind of do documentation and performance management, we're certified to ISO 9001 2015 standard, which we're actually one of the only municipalities in the city to be certified. This is normally something that private industry is certified to, but it basically just makes sure that our quality standards and the way that we do things is up to the par of the private sector, and that we're doing things according to industry best standards. In relation to your question about TQM and Six Sigma, as an organization, we look at process improvement and innovation from more of a lean methodology perspective. So rather than focusing on reducing defects, we're looking at reducing waste in the city. If we can reduce the waste or some of the things that seem unnecessary, all of a sudden all of our processes that sometimes can be clouded by red tape become very streamlined and efficient for you as neighbors. So even things as simple as waiting in line at the utility billing office, if we can reduce some of the waste and shorten that time, that's where we're more focusing our efforts at this time.
Excellent answer.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding your comments on implementation, how you said, it's pointless if it just sits on a shelf. So as you have looked at this document, what have you seen from the last plan that didn't get implemented? Or do you consistently see everything's implemented?
So the last plan that we did, I will commend the group before us. I was not involved in that planning process, but it was a very thorough document. One thing that we did notice is over the course of 5 years, things change rapidly, whether that's technology, policy directions, some of our elected officials, all of those things change over the course of 5 years. So we saw some things, one example being the wave streetcar. If you are to look into our plan, it's mentioned in there. We know from history that that's no longer a direction that the city is moving in. So we wanted to make sure that this plan was high level enough that we could adapt to those changes and pivot when necessary, so that we didn't have to just necessarily throw an objective or a goal away, but rather we could look at an objective or a new project or initiative in a new way to support that goal. So that's one of the ways that we're looking to improve from the past plan. But I will say the current and existing plan until this one gets adopted is very well thought out and very thorough. And a lot of the implementation that we're currently going to look for the next 5 years came from that plan.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Any last questions?
How do you codify this?
We're going to be taking this to commission. We're going to be doing a presentation at the commission conference meeting, and then we'll be taking it for resolution.
In October or?
In October, we're looking at October.
All right. All right, I'd say that was an excellent job.
Yeah.
Please help me thank Erica. All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yes. Here, I'll just leave a stack on the table over there if anyone wants a card.
So wonderful speakers. We're going to move on. We've got a couple reports. Do you want me to go first for president or second? Okay. So it's not on the agenda, but the president has a report. So just a couple things. The council voted at the last board meeting on 2 matters that are relevant and were important. One is the tree ordinance, the unnecessary removal of trees, and the city is moving towards tightening up that ordinance, but we have issued a formal letter requesting that to the city staff, and I thank the council board member and Parks and Rec Advisory Board and Beach member Brucey for bringing that to our attention. And the second matter was the agreement between TAM and MPO to merge transportation with the county. So we are in support of that initiative, caveated by, we would like to see the org chart, and we'd like to see the city hire a transportation director, which was promised by Mr. Lagerblum. And I want to also commend especially board member Christina Curry for not only curating questions from everyone, but organizing and implementing a wonderful special meeting on the 22nd that brought together community, the government. So those were 2 formal communications to the city we just want to make you aware of. You saw the mayor stop by. The mayor's office stopped by earlier specifically to say that they were sorry that the town hall meeting was overlapping with ours. So that was very nice. That was very nice of them. Deborah is going to be passing around a sign-up sheet for food for the upcoming months. And can we thank, is Sailboat Bend here?
Yes.
Okay, so thank Miss Sailboat Bend for bringing the food tonight. Great job. Very, very, very special. $100.
I'm going to pass this around so everybody can sign it.
And really, really good news, the board also voted at the last meeting that the food allowance is going up to $100. So you were reimbursed in the past for $75. We're up to $100. So filet mignon next month, people. And I think that's it. We're going to talk about district feedback in another topic. We're going to turn it over to Christina to talk about the bylaws committee and the updates to our bylaws.
Okay, in April, the general membership voted to form a bylaws committee. The bylaws committee consisted of myself, Marilyn, Dennis, and Jim. What we were looking at doing was figuring out ways where we could improve the bylaws to eliminate things that weren't being used, to consolidate references that were spread all over in a way that would help for easy transition when the board leadership switched from one to the other. So we met multiple times. We came up with some proposals, and at our last board meeting, we presented a summary. I presented a summary and a markup of the bylaws. The board, after a lot of discussion over every single item, unanimously proposed to put those to the general membership for vote. The current bylaws require that draft to be out and notice that it's going to be voted for at least 60 days before it's voted on. So it has been on the website since about August 26th. You can view the markup and you can also view the summary. I ask that you please take a look at it, and any feedback that you have, when you see it or comments, please send it to me so that when we get to that general meeting in November, we're not having a 2-hour discussion on little ticky-tacky things from the bylaws. I'm happy to take your feedback, answer your questions, but I would rather do it as a conversation with the committee than hijack a board meeting for it. So you can see on, here's my notice, proposed amendments, and that's my background that I just gave you, and you can click up here to view the proposed changes. So we will vote on November 12th on that.
Can you show them where the video for the TAM special meeting is?
Oh,
is that on the website?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, another thing is I created a YouTube channel where all of the videos of our meetings are posted, and the link to those videos are posted online. So you can go up to where you would view the general meeting minutes. Minutes, general meeting. Down one more. General, please. Board meetings are not on video. Click on that.
They're not open, click. No,
Click. Anyways, if you go to this spot on the website, you will see a link to the YouTube channel where you can view all the videos there.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much, Christina. And I forgot 2 items that I should have mentioned. Jim texted afterward, thanked everyone very much for the opportunity to talk about his event. He asked that all of you take these flyers back to your civic associations and share out about this wonderful event and get folks to sign up. Also, Sophia called earlier today or yesterday and would like me to announce the Community Appearance Awards. So the Community Appearance Board is accepting applications for Community Appearance Awards from council civic associations and the rest of the community. So if you're looking for, if you know about a newly renovated home, something significant in your neighborhood, your chance to nominate them in 10 different categories is due on October 4th. This culminates with an award ceremony at the Tower Club on November 4th, and it's a wonderful opportunity for residents, for business owners, etc. There are 30 applications here. It's also available online, and that's the easier way to do it, but I'll pass these around. Deadline is October 4th. Thank you. And now we're going to go to our final, district updates.
Can you reference my handout?
What handout?
I passed around a sign-up sheet of feedback.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to talk. Do you want to explain it?
It's fine.
Sure.
So for the district, I just want to point out that there is a folder that's being passed around. What we're asking for is for you to write down on that piece of paper your neighborhood association and what the Council of Civic Associations could help you to accomplish for your neighborhood, because we have some good brain power here, and so maybe we can work together as a group to help you accomplish those things. Who has the folder? Kelly has it. So did you hold it up so everybody can see? Each page has a different district in it. So just take it, make a note, and I'll get it to your district reps, and then we can try to work on it as a group if needed.
Needs more paper.
All right, so this is a great opportunity to see what other neighborhoods are saying, and we're organizing this by district. And as you know, we have 4 district reps on the council, so we're here to help collaborate, learn, convene, share best practices. All right, last 2 items of old business. Marilyn, immediate past president, wonderful leader, took a significant time to organize a group of people to examine the comp plan in detail. And for those of you that spend any time looking through the elements or chapters, you know, there's a lot there. And then there's a lot that's not there. So we've had a lot of conversation about this. Marilyn is going to explain some of the high-level commentary that she went through on her own and collectively with us. And then we will be issuing formal comments at a future date.
Okay. I'm not going to give a presentation like that wonderful young lady from strategic planning, but I'm going to do what I think is very simple and common sense, okay? This is, when you go on our webpage and you click on information for our members, right here, you'll come up with Advanced Fort Lauderdale, and this is the website where you go to see the proposed comprehensive plan, okay? If you click on that, you will see the comprehensive plan that is being proposed. It has 11 elements, and it's a very, what shall I say, comprehensive. It's full, it's chock full, and it's organized as goals, objectives, and policies, all right? We have goals, we have objectives to reach the goals, and we have policies to reach the objectives. It's very much like strategic planning, only more comprehensive. The strategic plan is, every city should have a strategic plan. That strategic plan works for every city, okay? It works for every city because that's what cities do. They provide you with clean water, they make you safe, they make sure that the traffic moves, they make sure that the drains are clean, yada, 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 yada. They make sure that the budget works and that we don't go into default or all those things. That's a plan that every city should have. Your comprehensive plan should be specific to your city. It should be the plan that implements your vision. okay? We have a vision plan in the city of Fort Lauderdale. It's called Fast Forward Fort Lauderdale. Remember in 2013, we went to meetings upon workshops, and we did this Fast Forward Fort Lauderdale plan, okay? That is the plan that we are trying to implement with the comp plan. That is the goal of the comprehensive plan, is to implement that plan, that vision. So you click on this, you go through the 11 elements, and they are very detailed and very feel-good kind of things. I mean, who doesn't want to have a city that provides affordable housing to anyone who wants to live here, right? And that's one of the goals, is to provide affordable housing for everybody who wants to live here. That's a very good goal, but then when you get down into it, you get down to the objectives and the actual policies, that's where the rubber meets the road, okay? And so you have to really read the whole thing in order to get the feeling for what it is we're trying to accomplish. But to do that takes a lot of time. So the committee that we formed decided to not focus on the whole 11 elements, but to pick the 7 that we thought were relevant specifically to neighborhoods, because we're a neighborhood-focused organization. So we only focused on 7 of the 11. Well, first thing we did was we took those 7, which are essentially housing, parks and recreation, transportation, infrastructure, those things that are more immediate to us. Not that climate change and conservation and economic development are not important. They're all important things. But we tried to focus on the things that are most relevant to our neighborhoods. And we were able to take that and condense pages upon pages of the comprehensive plan into about 7 or 8 pages, double-sided, okay? So we broke it down into some of its more, to try and make it a little more easy to digest. And even with that, it was just too big. So then we decided, well, we'll condense it some more. And we'll go through all of the policies, and we'll eliminate all of the policies that said, continue to implement, coordinate with other agencies, continue to prepare plans, continue to adopt it. In other words, take out all of the things that were same old business as usual, and try and find those things that were unique and important and special, okay, and important to us. And what we found, unfortunately, is not a whole hell of a lot that's special to us. There's not a whole hell of a lot that's special in this plan. And I think the thing that makes it the most, explains that the most clearly is, if you look at the future land use map, which is the vision for Fort Lauderdale, what are we going to be when we grow up, and you compare it to the 2008 future land use map, they are identical. They are identical. So if you liked what's happened in the last 10 years, you're going to love what's going to happen in the next 10 years, because it's the same as what happened in the last 10 years. Okay? So, if you take a look at the visualization map, of the 3D visualization map, that's based upon the 2008 plan, and let's see if we can open that. Some of you are familiar with this map, okay? This is the zonar map that describes in 3D what our current future land use plan looks like. We all know what it is. All the density is downtown. The density is on the major cross streets, Los Olas, Sunrise, 17th Street, Federal Highway, okay? And there are some good things in this plan, actually, because all of our neighborhoods are continued to be protected. Nobody's proposing to change Rio Vista into a high-density, regional activity area. They're proposing to maintain it in its current, neighborhood character. But there are a number of changes that we have not seen that we could see in the future. For instance, some of this density in downtown, this is really, really, really dense. Really, really dense. And if you look at the consequences of this kind of density, it's the right place, but is it the right amount? Is it too much? Is it just too much? Never mind is it too much for the infrastructure, never mind is it too much for our quality of life, but is it just too much in terms of, is this the kind of city we want to live in? I mean, I lived in Manhattan for 20 years. I lived right here, for 20 years. I moved, okay? I didn't want to live there anymore. If you want to live there, go to Manhattan. you know, maybe. I don't know, maybe this is really your vision. I mean, if this is what you want, then this is what we're going to get, okay? I want to live here. You may want to live here. Flacola Village people may want to live here. I mean, a variety of living environments is a good thing, okay? But bottom line is, we've spent a good deal of time working on the comprehensive plan. There's another comprehensive plan public meeting tonight, also downstairs. There is another public workshop. The Planning and Zoning Board is having a special meeting on the 24th of September. This will be their third public workshop to talk about the comprehensive plan and the implications, okay? And on October 16th, the actual formal planning and zoning hearing is being proposed for that. So time is clicking away here. They're getting closer and closer to a decision. What we hope to do at the next board meeting is to take our condensed map, our condensed comments down and observations, and reduce it to like 5 bullet points, 5 or 6 or 7 bullet points. There are some very important problems with this comprehensive plan. They have to do with open space. They have to do with how you calculate traffic and transportation on our local streets. They have to do with the tree canopy. They have to do with affordable housing. There are a number of very important, what I would call drawbacks. I'm trying to find the right word. Timid proposals in the comprehensive plan. Things that we're concerned about at a neighborhood level that get short shifts somewhat in the plan. And when we put that all together, we will again bring it here and have a discussion about it, and hopefully we'll be able to send those comments on to Planning and Zoning, because the next group that is going to be reviewing this is the Planning and Zoning Board. And they have expressed, I've been to a couple of their hearings, you came with me to one of them, they have expressed some of the same concerns that we've identified. Like, for instance, a very weak commitment to parks and open space. I mean, in terms of what we think of as being adequate parks, the comprehensive plan does not support that. So we think that there's room for improvement there, room for improvement in affordable housing. The comprehensive plan is very, very weak on affordable housing, very weak. It's like they don't even have goals, they have aspirations. They don't have any benchmarks, they don't have any evaluation methodologies, they don't make any commitment to funding. And it's just, well, we want everybody to have a home. Well, so of course we all want everybody to have a home. How are we going to accomplish that? What resources are we going to put forward to make that happen? So there's a lot of weaknesses that we would like to present to the Planning and Zoning Board in the hopes that they will take the actions necessary, because they're the planning agency. They will take the actions necessary to improve the document, and hopefully the commission will take even stronger, or at least take their recommendations, perhaps even stronger recommendations, to make it a better document. We have to have a comprehensive plan. It's mandated by state law. And there's a lot of pros and cons about how important is this really. I mean, this is like, you know, everybody has a comprehensive plan and then they don't do anything with it. That's not true. This comprehensive plan, especially this future land use plan, is so critical to all of the discussions we have, and I'll give you an example, the Witten property, all right? We're going through, very fishy there. The Witten property, we're going through your neighborhood is going through a very big deal now on the Witten property. If you look at the comprehensive plan, that property does not show up as dark brown. It shows up as yellow. Yellow is low density. If it showed up as dark brown and the developer wanted to develop multiple family housing there, you'd be hard pressed not to not be able to stop that. Okay? But because it shows up as light yellow, he's asking for a change in the comprehensive plan. Well, this comprehensive plan that's being proposed makes no changes over there. So what is the reasoning behind his application, other than he just wants to build more housing? This is very important in order to be able to deal with some of the issues that we have on an ongoing basis. The other one example I'll give you, just so that you have to know that this is important, Rio Vista. When we talk about the edge conditions between the downtown and the neighborhood. The transition zones. This is the transition zone issue. This is a transition zone issue. Because the comprehensive plan and the future land use plan says there should be a big building here, right next to a little building. And we need transition zones, which we don't have.
We're getting into the weeds. We got to move on.
We can't go. All right, so it is important. It's very complicated. It's like, it makes you go to sleep, but it's important. And we're taking on the task of going through it and trying to bring to you those distilled items that we need to focus on. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn, and we're going to table questions until we summarize this in writing. We'll come back and take questions at that time. Can we thank Marilyn, please? She's done a lot of work on this, and the high level, really the summary of this is that the plan is at once both too broad. We're going to be all things to all people. If you could summarize the comp plan, that's what it says, on the one hand. And then it's too specific, and there's really nothing to attach to. We're looking for a city that has vision, that thinks innovatively about our future, that thinks about thoughtful, creative opportunity for us to be the city that we envision ourselves to be. There's very little that's innovative about this plan. There's not enough meat to it from our standpoint, but we're going to summarize this. The hard thing is it's so comprehensive. It's hard to tackle it at a summary level, so we're trying to get our arms around it, and I think one of the things that we're going to think about as an approach is asking some of the questions that you would ask if you were coming into a city and being thoughtful about where they're headed, their future direction. Are we even asking the right questions in what this comprehensive plan is? So we're excited about taking this to the next step, and it's going to be some work to get this organized and summarized, but we look forward to bringing it back to you. With that, our final agenda item is feedback from the August 22nd meeting that discussed TAM and MPO with the city manager and with the executive director of MPO, Greg Stewart. And Christina, who organized that meeting, is going to provide a summary of that meeting, or you can watch the video.
I'm not going to provide a summary of the meeting because there's video of the meeting and the minutes to the meeting were just approved. So that means that everybody already knows about the meeting. If you need a refresher on those things, you can go to the same place where we went before, which was it's under the general meeting minutes. And you can see the video to it there, and you can see all the documents, you can see the questions that were finally submitted from everybody, but thanks to everybody who came and submitted the feedback, and we got through it all in an hour, and it was great.
Did you have any other special feedback or comment? No? Okay.
No.
All right,
Thank
great.
you.
All right, so that's it for this meeting. A special note, the meeting date for next month was changed. Normally we meet on Tuesday nights. That's the eve of Yom Kippur next month, so it's moved to that Thursday, October 10th. So we'll be here next month on Thursday, October 10th instead of Tuesday, October 8th. Same time, same place. Anybody have anything for the good of the community? Yes, Dennis?
Tomorrow is the City of Fort Lauderdale September 11th remembrance ceremony at 10 a.m. at the Fort Lauderdale Fire and Safety Museum.
Can you know the approximate address of that museum?
Yes, it's
okay.
1022 West Los Olos Boulevard.
And will you be speaking again this year?
No, I won't be speaking, but I'll be there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And did someone else have their hand up? Okay. Going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. So didn't you? Supposed to